This shit ain't for kids, bruh. What up everyone, it's your boy Xmanny87 here, bringing you a Star Wars Black Series video, and what I have for you today is the Mandalorian Star Wars Black Series The Child action figure review. This is my first ever Star Wars Black Series review, so if you want to see me cover more Star Wars action figures, please drop a thumbs up like rating on the video, as it'll help show your support for my channel and I'd greatly appreciate it. Now with that said, let's take a close look at The Child. As we take a close look at The Child, I'm gonna do my best here to keep things in focus, as it's a challenge since this guy is super tiny and I always record in manual and not autofocus, so apologies in advance if my hand or finger causes any shadowing or gets in the way. The sculpting on this little guy is fantastic. You got the wrinkles on top of his head, the big ears, the tiny nose with a baby-like mouth that looks absolutely adorable. They did use the face print tech here, so that looks fine. If you look at the top of his head, he has some of the hairline sculpted, very tiny streaks of gray hairs painted on his head. They also gave him some rosy cheeks, and he has some rosy shading around his eyes and in his ears. He's got very nice solid black eyes with a nice hint of glossy paint to give it a cutesy childlike pop to it. And here's a look at the back of his head. Again, just absolutely adorable. As far as paint goes, it's all one very solid light tan kind of color. I would have preferred a more brownish kind of color and keep the scarf and wrist cuffs in that same tan color. As far as skin tone, I'm okay with this light green paint. I think it suits well. He has his little baby hands and his feet that matches the same skin tone, so happy that nothing is off there. And I'm also happy that they kept the serial numbers hidden under the figure, as that would have been the biggest eyesore had they placed it on his side or on his back. And as for accessories, these are the tiniest accessories ever. So tiny that they had to have them encased in this little plastic storage case. I recommend not throwing out this case so that you can keep these accessories stored and not end up losing them. So this is neat that they did this. So this is a nice hard style type of plastic case. I dig it. And you got two openings or two gaps right here at the top and at the bottom. Best way to open it is by having those two fingers at the top and the bottom. Pull it with the accessories facing upwards, because if you pull it this way, if they're facing down, you're definitely going to drop them and most likely lose them. So just, again, pull it up. And then now I'm lightly going to face it down so we could take a close look at these guys. So the first accessory up is the knob to one of the control panel sticks from the Razor Crest. I wish it had a shinier paint. It can fit in Baby Yoda's hand, but yeah, it's kind of tricky. Again, make sure it doesn't fall. And you're just gonna have to have his hand positioned, you know, just like that for him to easily hold it. And I honestly think that this is out of scale. It should definitely be bigger than this. So if I grab Mando's hand here and try to put the knob in his hand, it's, again, so tiny. As you can see, it's definitely out of scale, as he should have a good full firm grip on that. Next up, he has his little tiny bowl of soup painted in a dark brown color. It's hard to hold this in front of camera, but as you can see, there's nothing inside the bowl. And on the bottom of the bowl, it's funny because it looks like a Lego stud. So he could hold this little bowl with one hand. Unfortunately, he can't hold it with both of his hands. So it would have been nice if he had like alternate arms holding the bowl of soup with the bowl of soup molded onto it. That would have been much better. So with photography, I kind of had to just pop his arms out, which you can do that easily, and I had to put like a sticky tack right here and just stick it like so, and put the bowl on top of his hands to make it look as close as possible to that scene. You know, the one where Mandalorian and Cara Dune faced off. That was a pretty badass scene. Then lastly, he comes with my favorite accessory out of this set, and that's the one-eyed alien frog from that famous scene of him eating it up. So I like the sculpt to this. It's painted in two tones of green colors with a dark green on the top, and then you have the light green on the bottom here. But yeah, looking at the bottom, he's got a little number 2 sculpted underneath. But again, I really dig the sculpt to this. It's so freaking cool. And the little one eye there is painted in a nice glossy black color. So overall, again, my favorite accessory out of this set. It's pretty neat that they added this. Now, to cover articulation for the child, his head is on a ball joint, so it moves that far up and that far down, and that's all you're gonna get because of the top part of the robe. It's kind of, you know, bulky, so it kind of hinders it. But you get a good head tilt with it, so that's pretty cool. And again, it's on a ball joint, so it rocks around, and you can move it left and right. He also has ball jointed arms, so he can move it up and down and all around. And you got a wrist swivel here. It's a ball jointed wrist. So wrist swivel, and you can move the hands up, down, side to side in any direction you'd like. And his arms spread out that far. You could probably get it a little bit higher, but you know, just be aware that these arms can pop off easily. And what's also cool is that they gave him articulated feet, so they're both on a ball joint, and they can move up, they can move down, they can swivel as well, and they pivot. And there you go, that was the child in a nutshell, or pod. I wish he came with a pod. But to measure this guy up, he is so tiny. Look at that, 1.2 inches. So very tiny. So now let's get into comparisons and measure him up against some other tiny characters. Now for some fun comparisons, here is the child next to the Marvel Legends Ravager suited Baby Groot and naked Baby Groot. Here he is next to the Marvel Legends potted Baby Groot, which came in the Evolution of Groot pack, and the Scott Lang Ant-Man version, which came in the San Diego Comic-Con Ant-Man box set. Here he is next to all 4 different versions of the Star Wars Black Series Porgs. Here he is next to the 2 newest characters from the Rise of Skywalker film. Here he is next to D-O and Babu Frick. Here he is next to my favorite droids, Chopper, BB-8, and R2-D2. Here he is next to Off-World Jawa. Teeny! Here he is next to 2 Scout Troopers. Here he is next to my thick queen, Gina Carano. I love me some Gina Carano. And IG-11. Here he is next to the Mandalorian, and this scales perfectly. And the one comparison that we've all been waiting for, here is Baby Yoda next to Yoda. Alright, and now to wrap things up, my final rating is an 8.5 out of 10. I'm taking it for what it is. To have a figure that's as small as this with the most articulation they can add to it, and some accessories, it's pretty good for $9.99. However, I do feel like he's incomplete without his floating pod. That's the most important accessory to him, and I really hope Hasbro doesn't release that as some sort of exclusive. If he had that with maybe an alternate head swallowing the frog, or alternate arms holding the bowl of soup with the bowl molded into the hands, I would have gladly paid $5 more for it for a $14.99 price point and give this a 10 out of 10 perfect score. We can all agree he could have been packed in with Mando, but maybe we wouldn't have gotten all these accessories. If we do get him in the pod packed in with Mando, I hope that Mando has his upgraded Beskar armor. My favorite accessory out of this pack is the frog. I loved photographing that. As for his other accessories, the knob is okay but out of scale, which puts it at high risk of losing it. The bowl is cool too, but can't hold it with both hands. I like that they all have a storage case for these accessories. I can understand the price point of $9.99. Again, it could have been packed in with Mando, but come on, it's Disney. Half of that price point is probably going to the Disney licensing, and they want to capitalize on all the child merchandise. Putting him with the rest of the Mandalorian crew is a delight. I absolutely loved photographing this little guy. Loads of fun for me, which gave it a high fun factor and replay value. When the Mandalorian TV series debuted on Disney Plus, the world wasn't ready for Baby Yoda, as he took the whole world by storm and became the hottest commodity of the Star Wars franchise, and looks to stay the hottest for many more years to come. If you're a big fan of this show, this is a must-have. Now I kick it back to you guys. What do you guys think? What Mandalorian character would you like to see next in Black Series? I'd love to see Queel with a blurg, and I can't wait to add more Mandalorian characters to my Star Wars collection. So that was my review. Please drop a like rating on the video, comment, we'll chat about it. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, link is in the description below. Visit my website, xmanny87.com, to view my photo gallery. Hit the notification bell to know when my videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. Enjoy the pics at the end of the video. See you on the next review. This is the way. I have spoken. Peace, peace.